My name is Unimportant, and I'll tell you why. Another effort I am forced to make is to search through my memories for untapped wisdom I missed due to the lies and mentality I had in my past. The one that makes me laugh to this day is from my time in basic training with the United States military. It was a time in my life where I was strong and healthy. I was surrounded by other young men and women, and we all had older and experienced male and female drill sergeants to look up to. The military is highly masculine and encourages aggressive and assertive mentalities and attitudes. I welcomed the masculine environment, and it brought much out within me that I could not have otherwise embraced. One event in particular sticks out in my mind as a lesson I didn't learn because of my feminist influence and mentality. Our training unit had just marched some miles to our training location and was forming up when we arrived. I was a student leader at the time, which meant greater responsibility and stress, but designed as a part of the training experience all the same. You have to do everything your peers do in addition to your leadership role. In this situation, I was particularly rushed because I had to ensure positive accountability for my 50-man platoon and change my equipment for training. The trainees under me and around me had about twice as much time to change their loadout before the drill sergeants began coming down on the student leadership for meeting time expectations. In my haste, some of my gear spilled into an adjacent platoon's area. A few joint pads rolled into a female soldier's equipment. She reacted negatively, telling me not to crowd her area. Without even thinking, I pointed out she had twice as much space as I did. I could have left it at that, but without thinking about it, I blurted out, "Eat a dick," at the end of my comment. I said it with such a tone, she immediately ended her protest and continued focusing on meeting the time hack. The look on her face was that of surprise, but obvious submission and acquiescence. I continued on with our unit's objectives, but in the back of my mind, I worried that she would report my language to a drill sergeant. I planned how I would defend myself and what my argument would be. Thankfully, nothing ever came of it, but I didn't realize at the time the exchange was a lesson to be learned. That when you are aggressive and assertive and dominant with your language, people truly fall into line. I was a competent beta leader coming into my own with an alpha attitude by natural processes, but I suffered constant internal degenerative thoughts keeping me from learning lessons with my feminist self-narrative. My military experience was being deconstructed and inhibited by this backward social conditioning. I was a highly accomplished student leader. Males in my barracks would say things like, "You make it look so easy, and you're probably the manliest dude here." But I never let any of that praise encourage my behavior. It never cemented itself as a part of my personality, because I was constantly making excuses for why I was successful. My education, my looks, were internally given exclusive credit in my mind for the praise, not that I was in any way unique or that my attitude and behavior were all that I needed for success in leadership and soldiering. Eventually, this narrative ended my marriage in spectacular fashion. I only made alpha decisions and behaviors when I felt like I had to, or when it was absolutely necessary. This is what kept my unstable on and off girlfriend, and then later wife, drawn to me. In the second year of our marriage, her nonstop onslaught of shit-testing, degradation, emotional and physical abuse, and incremental isolation from my social groups at her behest finally snapped what was my better judgment. And I put my internal narrative into high gear. I consciously started changing according to her berating language verbatim. I did it so faithfully, she wrote me a letter. She said she noticed all the things I had done, and that it was everything she had asked of me, but that she didn't know why she still felt the way she did about our marriage, but that she would try to make it work. I would find out later that she had been having an affair for months, during this time and long before. Every attempt I made to appease her emotional distress was about as helpful as shooting holes in the hull of a boat already taking on water. She didn't need anything she was asking for. She needed me to be the masculine male she had been drawn to for so many years. For years I had deflected her verbal insistence to change my behavior with the same humor, that everything she was looking for was as simple as to find herself a girlfriend, and that it would be fine with me if she did. These new lessons have built me back up when understood in the proper red pill light. During my study of the red pill, I attracted a number of women, both my age and 6 and 7 years younger than me, women in their prime. Meanwhile, my ex reminded me how badly you can pay for making the mistake of doing what a woman wants, as she pulled every legal punch in the Feminazi Arsenal handbook, trying to obliterate my life in court. And she did. I had never seen my mind stray and stretched to the limits of sanity worse than that time, before or since. My only consolation will be that I know our son will see her for what she is in time, and that I can bring him up to see through the endless miles of ignorance our society peddles as fact. And that is why my name is Unimportant. Like, comment, and subscribe for more about why my name is Unimportant.